farmer. As I also worked in the commune office. Question. Can you tell the chamber your father and mother's names? Answer. My father's name is Chan Sin and my mother's name is Ui Yam. Question. What is your husband's name and how many children do you have? Answer. Dear Yong is my husband's name and we have 5 children. President Madam Chan Suchit, as a civil party before this chamber, you are given an opportunity to state your sufferings and harms or impact inflicted upon you materially, physically, and psychologically, which are the direct result of the crimes occurred, which led you to become a civil party in this case, and which have been charged against the true accused, that is Nuon Chi and Kieu Sampon, and which occurred during the Democratic Cambodia regime, that is from the 17th April 1975 to the 6th of January 1979. Lead co-lawyers, which lawyers are assigned to question this civil party? You may include all the assigned lawyers for civil parties for today's proceeding. Mr. President, for today's proceeding, and for the remaining civil parties, that is TCCP 7, who is present in this courtroom. Ms. Christine Martino will put questions to her. As for TCCP 13, who will testify via video link, will be questioned by Pascal Oboin. And for TCCP 198, who is the last civil party for today's proceeding, will be questioned by the Srina. This is for your information, Mr. President, and first allow Christine Martino to put the questions to this civil party. President, yes, you may proceed.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, Your Honors. Good morning to everyone. I simply wanted, before the civil party starts speaking, I simply wanted to provide all parties the index numbers of both documents. Her complaint, first of all, and it is indexed D22/3858/1, and the second document is indexed D22/358/358/1, and I will provide the ERNs in English and Khmer, possibly. There's not always a French ERN, however. So the Khmer ERNs are 0058 4794 to 98. 3 pages, that is to say. It's easier for me to speak about pages, however. And the first document, D22/3858, the ERN here, Khmer, is 00571178. to 93. English ERN 0057 11 75 to 77. Miss Chan Suchiet and was admitted as a civil party after having filed her application in May 2010. On 10 September 2010. So I am now going to allow the civil party to speak. She survived the entire Khmer Rouge regime. She was 18 years old in 1975, and she survived this tragedy, and she will speak to you about it.
President, Civil Party, you may proceed. Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, all the lawyers, and allow me to proceed. On the 17th April 1975, I, as the rest of the Phnom Penh residents, were immediately forced to evacuate from Phnom Penh. I had 13 blood brothers and sisters, including my parents. There were 15 of us in total. So I had several younger siblings, and the evacuation was very difficult for us. The war was ended, and I hoped the peace would come. But on the contrary, at around 9 a.m., Khmer Rouge soldiers with weapons entered our house, and they told us to leave the house for 3 days, as they needed to get rid of the enemy. At that time, my parents prepared our meal, and we could not even eat the meal yet, and another group of soldiers came to force us to leave urgently, as it is imminent that the Americans would drop bomb. Upon hearing that, we were all very scared, so we only could manage to bring a bicycle and a motorbike to carry some belongings, and we did not even have the time to eat our rice, and we had to bring some hot water containers for the younger siblings. En route, the situation was even more difficult. When I reached the Monivong Boulevard, I was shocked to see the people en masse. I saw people with the dropped on their hand. Some died along the road. Some were crying for their children and family members. As for my family, we gathered everyone, and we kept walking. We crossed the bumper bridge, and we stayed for 3 nights at the pagoda there, awaiting to return to Phnom Penh. But what they told us was a lie. We were not allowed to return to Phnom Penh, and we were forced to move further. My family then came to rest at Kien Svai district, and during the 6-month period that we stayed there, we experienced great hardship due to the lack of food, the insufficient food, and we did not bring enough food with us. And the food that we were given was only rice and corn, grains. There was no meat or vegetable. So it was very hard, especially for my younger siblings. and they lost their weight. And the younger sister did not have any breast milk, so she only could have the liquid gruel, and later on she died. We did not have any belongings with us. We only have small money, and we could not afford to do anything, and later on the money was no longer used. That was a great burden on me and on my father. After the 6-month period, the Angka leader there made an announcement that for those people who left Phnom Penh would be allowed to return to Phnom Penh. My father was extremely happy upon hearing that, because he was an engineer, and when the war ended, they would need the educated people to prepare and to rebuild the country. Although people whispered to us that it was a lie, but in his mind, he was determined to return to Phnom Penh because of the poor living condition of the children. And if we were to return to Phnom Penh, that would change. At 5 p.m., we boarded a motorboat, and there were hundreds of families on that motorboat. And we reached the riverfront in front of the royal palace. And when we looked to the west, we saw the light reflecting from that direction, and we were pretty happy to see that scene, because we knew that now we arrived in Phnom Penh. Everybody on the boat cheered. There was a man who was about 30 years old who shouted that, "Bravo, now we arrived in Phnom Penh." That person was called by the Khmer rules outside, and a moment later we heard 2 shots being fired. That man fell into the water. Upon seeing that situation, everybody became silent. Not even the children. The children also became silent. In very early morning, the boat arrived in Kampong Chnang, and we were distributed with 3 cans of rice, and each can was for 3 people, and we were there awaiting to board the trucks to Pusat. That was at the junction of the Liech River Station, and then we stopped at Liech in Mong Risai district. The situation in my family, as the rest of other families, in particular for other families who had younger siblings who could not walk, and we were still forced to travel on foot, and we went to live at Praitoteng village. The situation there was inhumane. There was nothing, no house. It was just a plain jungle. And to the south of the road, there was an old rice barn. And there were 3 houses for the district soldiers. Upon arrival there, we were instructed to clear the forest and build our own house. And a meeting was held, and we were instructed that upon coming to live here was of a collective nature. We would eat communally, and we would work communally. My elder sister, were asked to work in the female unit, and my younger siblings, some worked in the children unit, and the younger ones would stay behind with my parents. My father cleared the land, plowed the field, and planted some vegetable, including pumpkin. We were asked to build dams, and the ration was 5 cubic meters per day. We were only given a ladle of watery gruel. The situation was miserable, the food was insufficient, and the work was too heavy. I became very sick, and my father asked me to be returned to the house. When I came home, the situation became even worse. All my younger siblings were emaciated or swollen because the food there was even worse than I was with the female unit. Although over at the female unit, I was given a ladle of watery gruel, but at the house, there was no taste at all of any rice. It was just ruined rice with a little bit of morning glory. We had to manage to eat whatever we had, and we were not allowed to go and find anything else to eat. As you could imagine, over there it was just a field of jungle, and if we were to be caught, then we would be treated as an enemy. My siblings could not eat fully, and they could not even sleep because of hunger. I was so pitiful on my younger siblings. They were so hungry, and if they could even have rice with salt to eat, they would be very, very happy. My parents and myself could not do anything for my younger siblings but to sit and to shed our tear. Next morning, 2 of my younger siblings died. We did not know what time they passed away, and they continue to die. And my youngest daughter, sister Jang, during a meal time, before she died, she begged for just a piece of rice to eat. That is a tragedy under the Khmer Rouge regime that I could not forget. We were starved and we were given food like animals. A fortnight later, my father died. In early morning, in fact, I saw him sleeping. I went to wake him up. He opened his eyes and asked me what time it was, and I looked at the sky and I told him it's almost 7 a.m. He closed his eyes and then he died. He died in his sleep. I could not help him at all. My mother became seriously ill, and I decided to go to the cooperative to send her to a hospital. When they came and saw that my mother was unconscious, then they made a letter authorizing her to go and hospitalized at the Moon Hospital. I was happy. At that hospital, she was given some injection and gave her some rice to eat. When I got the rice, I thought all the time, if my siblings were still alive and were given this kind of rice, then they would not die. My siblings died out of hunger, not out of any disease.
My mother got a little better, and then she was returned. And then I was sent to cultivate rice and longkom. I met my sister. I was terrified. I saw my sister physical look. She was very thin and skinny. She was forced to work, and we did hard labor. Those who work very hard and met their quotas, we were given only 1 or 2 watery ladle of watery rice at that times, and just a few weeks I got thinner, and if we could not meet the quotas, we would be beaten. They were very harsh on us. Seeing such great suffering, I decided to tell lie to the unit chief that our house had clothes, thread clothes, and this could made into a hammock. I told them, and they in exchange they gave us 3 cans of rice, and then the next morning we left. I actually persuaded my sister to live with me. My sister could dare not live with me because she got used to walk across the quiet jungle and forest, and she once stepped on landmine as well, and she was very frightened, and I asked her that there was nothing to be afraid of now. We had to risk our lives, so we had to leave. So with the 3 cans of rice, we left. When we walked across the forest, we did not know where we were heading for. I did not know where I should be going. I waited for 3 days for my sister. I did not see her. I did not see her at all. I saw nobody in the forest. I only saw the vest of a wolf in the forest. So I waited in the forest alone for 3 days and nights, and then I decided to walk toward the village. When I got back to the village, I did not see my mother. My mother was gone, and I decided to cook the 3 cans of rice I had with me. I prepare and then I got very sick at that time, and I decided to go to a hospital, a place where people were being treated, and to my surprise, when I got there, I saw my mother. She was swollen, her body was swollen, and a few days later I decided to leave the hospital. I did not go anywhere far from the hospital at that time because I had to know my mother's health status, because she was in critical situation. I did not have anything to eat at that time. What I could eat was the young pumpkins I could steal at that time, and the life was miserable and indescribable. I cooked whatever I could get at that time for myself, and simply to survive for the day. And I thought that I could never survive at that time. I changed I actually requested the unit chief over there that I had to travel to another place to meet my uncle. At that time, I told them that I would leave for my uncle, and I told them that the unit chief would ask the other people to take people from other units. I saw Nguyen Chia. He was on the bicycle. He was riding there, and then he was asking where I was going. And then he actually told the unit chief at that time that we were under the umbrella of Angka, so there was no difference. So he actually asked the unit chief to give me some food. I actually at that times opened the rice pot and I saw rice over there and Cambodian sour soup, and I dropped I could not hold my tear at that times. I was wondering why these people in this area could have some things to eat while I had gone hungry for many days or many months already. I saw the food, but I was so shocked that I could not actually even eat it right away at that time. During the harvesting season, I could recall I went to collect waters, and then I saw my sister, my sibling, falling down on the edge of the water, and her leg was swollen. I walked my sister to the hut, and my sister told me that one of my sister had already died because she had fallen from a house, and then her head was hit to a hole, and then she died. I was so sorrowful at that time. My sibling died one after another. I had to be punctual when I had to harvest rice. One day when I returned from my work site to my hut, I was very shocked when people told me that my sister had already died and they had buried my dead sister. I was very shocked. I could not describe it in words. This was really suffering. I tried to regain my spirit. I tried to work to satisfy them. But of course, I only had my physical strength, but my spirit was actually away. My soul was taken from me. A few days later, some villagers who were sent to join me in harvesting crops, they told me that my mother's health condition was critical. I went to my unit chief telling him that I would like to ask for leave to visit my sick mother, and then this village chief actually blamed me, saying that I was not a medical doctor. I was not so I was not allowed to go, and from that day onwards I could never see my mother's face anymore. I was on mobile. They sent me from one place to another to cultivate crops. In 1977, the food regime was not sufficient. 10 of us were given only 3 cans of rice. We only had a few ladle of watery rice, and we ate communally. We did not have actually cooking pot by ourselves. We only have one spoon with us, and we were given only watery rice, and then we had to drink water from the stream nearby, the contaminated stream water. A month we would be allowed only 1 or 2 days to visit our family. When I went to the village, to my terror, my mother was dead. And this was the last times that all my members in the family were killed. I was alone. At that time, I was really lonely because all my siblings, my family members were all killed, and they or died. They actually punished us all days. We had to meet the quota, otherwise we would be accused of being the Vietnamese enemy. We were considered feudalists. They contempted us. They threatened to hit us with a hoe. So we had to work extremely hard at that times beyond any human capacity to handle the hard labor they put down to us. The President, thank you. Council, you may proceed.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. President. Madam, I think it's very painful for you to go through all of these experiences again. You lost 15 members of your family. In addition to your father, when you first arrived in Pusat, and then your elder sister, a younger brother, another elder sister, and I can well understand that having to relive these experiences is something violent for you. If you want, you can tell the chamber why you were there. Excuse me, why you are here, why you wanted to bring this complaint against the Khmer Rouge regime. If it's too traumatizing to talk about all of this, let's move to some conclusions. And you will be asked some questions, and in that way you can say a little bit more about what attitude the Khmer Rouge leaders took to people like you as well.
May it please the court and national and international lawyers, I have one question I would like to put directly to the co-accused. I have always wondered why the 3 years, 8 months and 20 days were so cruel. Why did they do all of this atrocity? I have endured tremendous suffering. It was so painful that I decided to file my application to join as a civil party. I want the court to seek justice for my family and for the Cambodian families at large who have lost their loved ones. I decided to file my application to join as a civil party. I am a surviving witness who witnessed the atrocities by my own eyes. I saw the suffering of Cambodian people. I hope that the testimony, particularly my experience from the Democratic Cambodia will contribute to the court finding justice for the victim. And now I would like to request the co-accused to admit their guilt and to apologize to those who died during the period so that their souls will rest in peace.
Madame, est-ce que...
Madam, you talked to us about your children who were born after 1980 and who fortunately never knew the regime, and often they ask questions, you told me. And they say, the entire family's dead, but you're alive. And you told me that it was very hard to answer them. But I would like you to voice an answer to that issue, because it's very important for us to know how you survived, what resources you drew upon during the regime, and how you explain to your children what actually happened.
Again, my respect to the judges and everyone. I would like to respond to your question. Of course, my children ask me the same question according to the description of the suffering I had endured. It was beyond human's capacity to bear, and why I could survive during that period. Indeed, I endure a lot of sufferings. I had to move from one place to another. I had to steal something in order to eat. I did not have any sufficient food to eat. I actually survived on stealing the young pumpkins or watermelon to eat, and I witnessed a lot of suffering of other people as well. When I was working on the rice field, sometimes I was asked and transferred to have the work site somewhere else, and in the evening we were on the way back to our place. We saw people being people killed and the dead body, and the ladies who came to ask me actually were killed herself on the hill when we were walking back home. This was really frightening. I could not do anything at that time but to try and work as hard as I could so that I would not be accused of being enemies or being feudalist. The President. Thank you. Now I hand over the floor to the co-accused to respond to the question put by the civil party. Mr. Kyu Sampon, how you would respond to this question by the civil party. And secondly, the civil party wishes to request the co-accused to make a public apology to those families who have suffered from the regime, so that those who died would rest in peace. You may proceed, Mr. Kyu Sampon. My respect to the chamber and to everyone, and my respect to Madame Chan Sochir. I have listened attentively to your statement concerning the suffering you had to endure and the loss of your family members. You lost your lovely parents and children. I am terribly shocked by your statement. After listening to your statement, it comes to my mind that those who inflicted such torture, a torturous act on your family, these people were not ordinary people. They were the cruel people. They were merciless. Those who did not spare on the people's life. They did not even bother to find out what would be good and what would be bad. They did not even leave any times for people to adjust themselves to the situation. Actually, I found it terrifying when you said that people were accused of being enemy, or people would fainted to be sick feign to be sick or something. These people were really cruel and they were senseless. Even though I am not a leader of the Democratic Cambodia, I was not the person who made the decision on the political direction of the Democratic Cambodia. I shared the suffering with you and your family, and I would like to express my sincere sympathy, and I would also like to express my apology to you, your family, and the national compatriots. I made it clear this morning that Cambodian family members who had endured these atrocities, I only want to once again state that those who committed these atrocities were not ordinary people. They were the merciless leaders. The President, I would now hand over to Mr. Nguyen Chie to respond to the question put by the civil party or the requests made by this civil party. Mr. Nguyen Chie. Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, Your Honors and everyone. I am Nguyen Chie, and I would like to respond to the question put by Madame Chie. I have clarified time and again that Democratic Cambodia does not have any policy to kill its own people. It does not have any policy whatsoever to deprive people of food. We want we want to gather our collective force, our national force, in order to prevent our country from being invaded, from being swallowed by the neighboring country. And we had to unite in order to liberate our country from imperialist power. So I would like to take this opportunity to once again express my sympathy to those who lost their life. I would like to also share my condolences with the family, and I would like to reiterate once again that the Democratic Cambodia had a good purpose for the nation and the people alike. Each and every one of us sacrificed our personal happiness. We sacrifice ourselves for our nation, and I would like to once again say that I respect the soul of the national compatriots who sacrificed their life, who lost their life during that period. The President. Thank you, Mr. Nguyen Chie. Now I hand over the floor to prosecutors to put the question to the civil party. If you intend to do so, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning to you, Mrs. Chan Sachia. Can I just ask some questions, please, to begin with, about the time when you were transferred from Phnom Penh to Kien Svai? Am I right that you remained at Kien Svai for about 6 months?
Yes, that is correct.
During that 6-month period, did any of your siblings die?
During that period, one of my siblings died. My sister died.
What was the name of your sister, and why did she die, or how did she die?
Sapir. She died because she did not have the breast milk or the milk to drink. At that time, there was no market. We could not find milk anywhere for her to drink. So at that time, what she had to drink was the watery rice with some little sugar, and then she could not stand that, and eventually she died.
How many other people died during the 6-month period at Kien Svai?
During the period I stayed in Kien Svai, I actually did not pay attention to other family members. I cared for our family members. We could not even help ourselves and our members in the family. During our stay over there, one of my sister, the only family member at the time, died because of the reason I said.
There came a time when you then described being on a boat and arriving at Phnom Penh, but then continuing on a journey where you eventually arrived at U Kriet village. How did you get from, first of all, Phnom Penh to Kampong Chhnang?
I left Phnom Penh for Kampong Chhnang. Actually, they took us there by boat. The new people had to get on board the boat and they left from Champa Pagoda, and then we went all the way to Kampong Chhnang. There was one scene that was very scary, and I still had that memory. The Khmer Rouge called out a man, and then that man was shot to death, because that man only expressed his happiness when he got to Phnom Penh. He said, bravo, we got to Phnom Penh. And then suddenly this man was called out by the Khmer Rouge, and he was shot a few times to death.
How did you get from Kampong Chhnang to U Kriet? When I got off the boat, we were given some rice, and we had to wait for a truck. And we got on the truck to Liech, somewhere near the railway station over there. And then from there we got on the train. We left Liech in Posat province to U Kriet in Mong Rusai district. What were conditions on the train like?
When we were traveling on the train, this train was separated into wagons, different wagons, and they also carried animals as well, and we had to put our stuff over there. We were not given food or drinks. We had to be responsible by ourselves. So when we got off the truck, we had to find the nearby pond in order to collect water to reserve it for ourselves during our travel. And as for rice, when we got to one stop, we were given rice at that particular stop.
Did you have a choice whether to be on that train or not?
No, not at all. I did not have a choice to choose at that time. We were required to go. Military personnel at that time forced us to go, and if we resist, we would be killed because they were armed with rifle. So we had no choice whether or not we decided to stay. We decided to stay, or we had to go. So we had to go at that time because we were fearful of being killed. Because thus far we had already witnessed that only a man expressed his joy when he got to Phnom Penh. He was shot to death as a result.
After you arrived in the big forest at U Kriet in Battambang province, who was your first sibling to die after you arrived in the forest?
When we got to Prey Tung village, or known as the dog biking man, one of my younger brother sibling was killed because of starvation, died because of starvation rather.
You know, in the time when you were at this location, aside from your brother, can you even give us a rough idea how often people were dying from starvation?
When we were staying there, it was the hell on us. My families and other families who were evacuated over there, they were targeted as a feudalist. We were associated with Vietnamese or Chinese descendant also. Some families lost some members. Within a period of a week, my family members died. Some 6 to 7 family members died of starvation. We did not have anything to eat at that time. We only had some wild plant to eat, and after eating those wild plants, some of us suffered from serious diarrhea, and we died one after another.
Thank you. I have no more questions.
The President. Thank you, Mr. Prosecutor. Now I hand over the floor to the defense team for Mr. Nguyen Chia to put the question to the civil party. You may proceed. Counsel Sonarun. Mr. President, Your Honors, the defense team for Mr. Nguyen Chia do not have any question to put to the civil party. The President, thank you. Now I hand over the floor to the defense team of Mr. Kyu Sampon. Counsel Kung Samon, thank you, Mr. President. May it please the court, I have one question to put to the civil party. You said you had witnessed the Khmer Rouge soldier shot a man to death on the boat when the boat got to Phnom Penh. How far was it? How far were you from the scene when the man shot? When the Khmer Rouge soldier shot the man? Response. Thank you. Thank you, Counsel. You may have been aware that the boat was big. There were hundreds of families were carried by the boat. And I saw the man quite close to me, because the man who expressed his joy when he got to Phnom Penh, actually he was sitting by my side. He only stood up and say, "Bravo, we got to Phnom Penh now." He was only expressing his joy at that time. And then suddenly the Khmer Rouge soldiers who were guarding at the door gate, he called the men out. I did not know what they were actually talking to each other, but the man asked the man who was sitting beside me at that time. But at that time I could not hear that conversation because the boat was engine was really noisy. But then the man was shot. Question. Can you tell the court the time difference between the man when he expresses joy and then he was later killed? Response. When we left Champa Pagoda by boat, it was about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I did not have any watch, but when I looked back, I saw it was almost dusk already, and we traveled on the boat until almost dawn. Then we got to Kampong Chnang at dawn. Question. No, actually, my question is the time between when the man expresses joy, saying "Bravo, we got to Phnom Penh," and the time when he was shot. I just would like to know the time span between these two incidents. Can you please tell the court? Response. I actually did not pay attention to the time. At that time I was so terrified that I could not remember anything. But I could only recall that the man shouted out with joy that "Bravo, we got to Phnom Penh." And then everyone was surprised, everyone was looking around, and then this man was called out by a Khmer Rouge soldier to a door gate, and then they were talking a few words with each other, and then the man was killed instantly. I did not actually know exactly the time span between the two incidents. I cannot respond to you in terms of the time span or how many minutes exactly between the two incidents. Question. Could I say that it was less than 5 minutes? Is that correct to say so? Could you please repeat your statement, because your mic was not activated just now? Response. Yes, it was about 5 minutes, I think, 5 minutes time. Counsel, thank you. Did you observe that the man who called the man you described out, did he have any means of communication to talk to his superior, for example, down in the boat cabin, or not? Or he decided by himself to call this man out and shot him? Response. I did not pay attention to the situation at that time. I did not know the role of that person either. I only knew that this was the man who ordered the boat to leave the bank of the river, and then he was the man who was standing all the time over there on the head of the boat. Question. Do you know his role and his name? Response. No, I do not know. They did not tell us. They did not tell us his position, but we only knew that he was a Khmer Rouge soldier who was in charge of taking us by the boat. Counsel, I do not have any further question, Mr. President. Thank you. The President. Thank you, Madam Chan Suchit. Thank you. Your statement of suffering you had endured during the Democratic Cambodia period comes to an end. So your testimony is no longer needed, you are released, and we have actually recorded your statement. I believe that your statement will contribute to ascertaining the truth. You are now released, and I wish you the best of luck. Court officer is now instructed to coordinate with the VESU unit to assist the civil party to return to anywhere she wishes to go. For parties, members of the public, this morning we have heard the testimony of two civil parties already, and then this afternoon we are going to resume hearing the testimony of TCCP 13 and TCCP 198, and we will resume at 1:20. The time is now appropriate for adjournment. The chamber will resume at 1:20 this afternoon. Security guards are instructed to bring Mr. Kyu Sampon to the holding cell downstairs and have him return to the courtroom this afternoon before 1:20. The court is now adjourned.